But, you know, I'm waiting for that moment where Matt, there it is.
No, I don't.
I remember when I first saw that in the theater. Oh my God, I freaking lost it.
Why can't they find it?
No.
No, the sin factor. It's the sin. It's an extension of number one.
I feel like I'm at a party right now with these guys.
Ever, under any circumstances, say, I'll be right back. Because you won't be back.
I'm getting another beer. You want one?
Yeah, sure.
I'll be right back.
What's up, everybody? We are gonna do a DWatch. It's been a long time since we did one. The last one was for Halloween 5. And usually we do these like during the day when it's nice and sunny out, but I decided what we're gonna do is we're gonna do one in the evening. And I've never done this before, and we're gonna mix it up a little bit. We're gonna do some of it in like the evil lair, and maybe do some of it in my like den area, because we never go into this area. So why not mix it up a little bit? So first off, let's go in. Last night I had my DD Live, and it's kind of a mess right now. And I was in there with Michael Trapson, and we were doing our Jason versus Michael definitive. Yeah. This guy right here, he fared pretty well in that whole thing. A lot of fun. But today we're gonna watch Scream, and you know what? I'm gonna put the VHS of Scream in right now. How about that? Let's put the VHS of Scream in, and let's turn on. I want you guys to listen to this, okay? You should hear like a poof. Did you hear that? That's Matthew Lillard's signature right there. Met him at Spooky Empire. And we're taking the VHS off, and we're going to turn the power on to the old Panasonic. Turn this to channel 303. There we go. Because remember, back in the old days, some of you old dogs, you might remember, we had to put the TV on channel 3. And this needs to be rewound because the tape is over on the right side and it needs to be on the left. I'm going to pop that in. We're going to rewind Scream. What's up, Mike? How you doing, buddy? Michael Trapson said he didn't really like your face because you look like you're made of clay, but I disagreed with him. I think you look awesome. All right, what's up, guys? This is a completely different setting for a DWatch. I have Scream set up right now. I'm actually going to hit play, and we're jumping right into the movie, which is very exciting. Before we get going, there is a Scream fan film called He Knows Your Name. A good friend of mine, Zach Mole from Cavern of Terror, he is writing and directing this thing. He has an Indiegogo campaign that needs your attention right now. I asked him to send me just a quick little plug video clip that I can show you guys to kind of give you what it's all about, throw some perks in there, all that stuff. And fan films, they need your support to get off the ground. So I'm going to turn it over to Zach. I want you to go watch this. It's only a couple minutes. Watch this plug for his fan film. Go into the Indiegogo. Give it some support. I'll put a link to the Indiegogo below too. All right? So take it away, Zach.
Hey guys, I am the writer and hopefully director of He Knows Your Name, an upcoming Scream fan film. I am Zachary L. Mall. I just wanted to pop in here on, coincidentally, Drumdums episode of DWatch for Scream. I wanted to thank him for giving us time here on the show to talk about our Indiegogo campaign for He Knows Your Name, an upcoming Scream fan film that I actually wrote and will hopefully direct, as I said, if we can raise our funds for the project. The He Knows Your Name team and myself have created some very carefully selected perks for you guys to take a look at in the hopes of funding our project to make that next great Scream short film. As you can hear in the background, there is a little bit of music over my clip, and that is our composer for the film, Stephen Arthur. He's fantastic. He's a musical genius, and the only way you guys can hear his full score is if you back the campaign. Now, hopefully this has enticed you to come over to our Indiegogo campaign website. There should be a link somewhere in the description box for you to come over and check out our fantastic perks. I really hope you guys are interested and are willing to give us a chance for a scream. Thanks, Lee.
If you want me to know your name, back us for a scream.
Okay, thank you, Zach. Be sure to support that, guys. Back to Scream. I got the VHS ready to go in there, but we're going to start with the Blu-ray. Boom, wasting no time. And I like that this logo, immediately you hear a scream, and then it just kicks right in. It's go time. We're in the movie. Yeah. Is that a little too bright? So one thing I like, too, is, you know, everybody has that trope where they'd be like, why is she still talking to him? She would hang up the phone. That's exactly what she does. She says, bye, sicko. She hangs up the phone. She doesn't say sicko, but you get the idea. She's an intelligent person. She's not necessarily a dingbat.
I don't think so.
But then he calls back, and she still doesn't know for sure if he's a threat or not. I always like the Jiffy Pop popcorn too, you know? There's just something cool about it being the Jiffy Pop and it like popping out of the container. Yeah, I always prefer that. That's an iconic shot right there. You see Halloween, the VHS right there in the back. I don't think I've ever noticed that. This is the actual TV that I first used when I was first doing DWatches. Years and years ago. This is the 3D TV that used to be hanging on the wall in Georgia, where we used to live. Now it's over here in Melbourne, Florida, and I didn't want to throw it away. I didn't want to sell it or get rid of it because it's kind of like, you know, it's the first of something. And it's a 3D TV. It's an LG 3D TV. Matter of fact, I have an unboxing for that, not on the Drumdums channel, but on one of my on my other channel that I never ever advertise. So I kind of gave you a tip of how to possibly find my other channel. And if you do, leave a comment saying, "Hey, I found the other channel." I like how this is slowly starting to get a little creepy for this girl, and a lot of women can relate to this character here. You know, because I would even say there's a lot of women that have probably been in this situation where, not to this extreme, hopefully, but, you know, some creepy guy calling you on the phone and you don't know quite know who he is, or it might just be through like DMs, through text. You poor women, I'm sure you guys deal with a lot of crap like this. But this is one of the best opening sequences that I can think of in the last 40 in horror history. Really, this is one of the best opening sequences just because of the pacing of it. Starts off light, gradually builds and builds and builds. The voice is so good. I think her name is Casey. Is it Casey? But now she knows she's in trouble. She knows she's in trouble, and she's got to do something. Yep, covering their ground with the the police. They'd never make it in time. They're in the middle of nowhere. You got to have little bits of exposition like that to kind of, I guess, fill in the gaps, the plot gaps, so that way your audience, they won't be like, why wouldn't the cops be there? They'd be there in like 5 minutes. No, they won't, because they just explained it. Drew Barrymore really just giving it her all. This was kind of her comeback because she had a little bit of a rough patch. You know, she was still really young. And she had a feeling that the horror genre was going to be making a comeback. The slashers were going to be making a comeback, especially. And so she jumped on the opportunity. And she was the first one cast. And during this sequence, too, they're setting up what this movie is all about. You know, that it pays homage to the classics because he's playing a game with her. We all love games in movies, too, right? Makes me think of Die Hard with a Vengeance, which came out the year before this. And also, it's like the layers are peeled back. You don't know what this guy knows. You don't know where he's at. You don't know a lot of information. And little by little, they give you, oh, he's close to the house. Oh, he knows information about her friends. You know, he knows little things, and they just keep peeling the layers back. Now, I saw this with my wife opening night in the theater. I believe this came out on Christmas Day, somewhere around there, in '96. And it was one of those movies like you didn't really know what to expect. And keep in mind, the slasher genre had been dead for quite a long time. So we thought this was going to be one of those, another fly-by-night slasher movies that comes and goes. And I knew immediately that this was going to be a hit as soon as I left the theater, just because this felt special. And one of the reasons it felt special is because of this opening scene right here. I think if you didn't have a scene this strong to kind of jumpstart the rest of the movie, then it wouldn't have been as effective of a movie. And you could say that not only did this scene jumpstart the movie, but it jumpstarted the slasher genre again. Which, I mean, that's how effective this scene is. And it was kind of strange hearing a character in a movie say a character from another movie. In Friday the 13th, and she says Jason. And and then after this, she has the Michael Myers question. And I just remember eating that up because, you know, I'm just such a big fan of 80s slashers and Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees and all that. So to hear another character in a movie saying those names out loud on the big screen, it was just... and this is a time before, like, cinematic universes, even though this isn't a cinematic universe, but this is like meta horror, and it's characters like us in a movie that love horror movies. Not something that you saw that often in the 80s, you know? Scream tried something different, and it worked, and it still maintained the horror in the movie. It wasn't a parody of itself. Not an easy line to ride and not get yourself in trouble. The way he, like, just kind of drags this whole thing out, can you imagine? It's probably agonizing for her, for Casey. And she's already seen the guy outside with his freaking intestines coming out and everything. So she knows this he means business, and she knows that she's probably going to die tonight. And she's got to answer horror questions before she dies. What a start. What a beginning to a freaking movie. Let's do a little Instagram video. Why not, right? Instagram, what's up? I'm doing a DWatch right now for Scream. Having fun. Who wants a shout out? Let me know in the comments. Scream, baby. One thing about slasher movies too is like the parents are almost never there. You might see them, you'll usually see them at the end of the movie or at the beginning of the movie, and then they're gone. They're gone for the weekend. Now I think you're going to see a change in the mask. Like I don't know. Yeah, the mask in this scene looks different than some of the other. Yeah, that's definitely a different looking mask. Not as cool looking or as sleek and refined looking as the later mask. And I know they had some mask troubles on set, you know, which is common when you're getting started, especially if you have like licensing rights and stuff like that. And this is a really grim scene. You know, you really feel bad for this character. You thought that Drew Barrymore could, you know, she could be the final girl. They'll bookend it with her, you know, a chase scene with her, and then they'll close it out at the end with her. No, she dies right at the beginning of the movie. Big star, Drew Barrymore. Genius, if you ask me. She gets a look at the face. This was a whodunit, and I don't think there were too many whodunit slashers for a long time before this. You know, the 80s were full of whodunit slashers, but this was probably, still to this day, I think Scream is the most effective whodunit slasher ever, because when I first watched this movie, when everybody first watched this movie, we didn't dare think it was two killers. Wes Craven always liked to add a little bit of a gravitas to his horror movies. You know, make them feel like A-level type movies. Wes Craven had that power, you know. Scream it kind of feels big, you know. And it doesn't hurt that you got such a strong cast, too. Luckily, it's made by horror fans, you know. Everybody that was involved with Scream, they were fans of the genre. You know, obviously with, you know, shout-outs to all these different horror properties. You know, characters like Randy. You know, you got to write that stuff. Kevin Williamson was a big fan of the franchise. Shocking scene right here. Can you imagine that? You walk outside and you see your own child, your daughter. Let that sink in, hanging from a tree. I mean, that's rough. So then the entrance of Sidney Prescott. Let's go to the evil lair to look at the VHS. Okay, so in the evil lair right now, you can see Jolene. She's handling Scream just fine. Nice little backdrop, but Sidney and Billy Loomis. And, you know, I just had no clue. Like, I didn't think Billy Loomis was going to be the killer. And maybe that's because it's kind of the obvious thing. You always think the boyfriend, it's too easy for him to be the killer. So that's why I didn't think he was going to be the killer. Scream is one of those movies, too, that has zero nudity. You know, so I think the Scream franchise was the start of something. It was the start of slasher movies without nudity. There's a lot of them, and they're rated R, but they have no nudity. It's weird. Some of them do, but most of them, it seems like from Screaming on, if they could get away with it, they didn't have nudity. Whereas in the 80s, that was a big part of it. And they even make jokes about it in this movie, though. She even says, "Will you settle for a PG-13 rating?" And she shows him, but we don't see it. There's your PG-13. Although in PG-13, you still can show boob, a little bit of boob. I like watching some of these older movies on VHS. It's weird to call Scream an older movie, even though it feels fresh. Like if Scream came out today, it would feel new. It really would. It's getting a little cleaner. Not too bad, but got the black Christmas tree sitting up there. Got the old record player. I need to come up with a name for the record player. But there's this song here that I'm like obsessed with lately. And the album is Genesis. Let's see, there's Olivia Newton-John. Vinnie Vincent Invasion. Where's the Genesis album? Oh, and this I just got Best of Dolly Parton. Stranger Things. The Crow. That score is so good. Fly on the Wall, AC/DC. So we're about to see Gale Weathers, the first sighting of Gale Weathers. And there's her friend Tatum. That light is way too bright. Now maybe that's a little bit of an homage to Halloween because, you know, Sydney's sitting there and she's like looking out the window just like Laurie Strode did in the first Halloween. Maybe. Henry Winkler, Happy Days. Some of you younger subscribers might not recognize Henry Winkler, but I think most horror fans do recognize Henry Winkler, even though he didn't do too many horror movies. There's Dewey. Can you believe that this franchise, there's going to be a new movie next year, and Dewey, I mean, all these characters, we've seen them pretty much just grow up. And Dewey was so young here, and just a little deputy, and now, you know, he looks like an old man almost.
Why would they ask you if you like to cook?
Great scene right here. And, you know, this is one reason why Scream works so well, too, because you have strong characters. You know, every one of these characters, Randy, Stu, Billy, Tatum. I mean, there's so many strong characters that you can get behind, and that just it's like a bonus because really slasher movies, even especially in the 80s, you didn't necessarily need the strongest characters to enjoy the movie because slashers are really about kills. But I mean, Scream upped the ante. They gave you characters that you cared about. They gave you this great massive twist. And Randy and Stu, my God, both those characters were hilarious. So they were that much needed comic relief. There's so much comedy in Scream. And it's just a nice way to like break the tension. You know, it almost breaks the tension too much. But luckily these characters are just so damn entertaining that it works. To do something like that. A lot of people said like Skeet Ulrich, he really looked like Johnny Depp. Back then he had that Johnny Depp vibe, kind of like in the first Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah, but up to this point, they just seem like, you know, they seem like fodder for a slasher killer. That you could totally see those characters being killed off one by one. So it's so interesting that Scream flips it, and you know these could possibly be the killers, and we all know Billy and Stu are the killers. So let's see how synced up we are. Okay, so here's where we are on the VHS, and now we're gonna go to the Blu-ray. Pretty close. Now there was one other movie I did this where I had the VHS and I had the Blu-ray going, and that was Halloween 3, which was a lot of fun. It's a little bit more work, but it was a lot of fun. But the cool thing about these is I record them in real time with the movies, so I'm done in an hour and a half no matter what, and whatever I've gotten, whatever footage I've gotten, that's what I'm using. So that's why the run times for these DWatches are so all over the place. Sometimes they can be freaking 30 minutes, sometimes they could be an hour, who knows? Depends on what I want to talk about. So here's where they start exploring Sydney's backstory with her mother's death, Maureen Prescott. And, you know, there's a lot of layers to the story in Scream, actually. And like I said, you don't really have to go that far with a slasher, but if you do, then you got to make sure you check all your boxes, and Scream really does. They, you know, they pretty much touch every base they need to touch. So that way the audience is not confused. But I think Sydney was refreshing because she's, I wouldn't say the antithesis, but she's not the quintessential final girl, meaning that, you know, final girls in the 80s, they tended to be like very sweet, very innocent. even virgins. But now in Scream, they make fun of that at the beginning of the movie, with her and Billy. So, anybody could be a final girl now, as long as you're intelligent, you're smart. That's pretty damn creepy right there. If a killer told you he was at your front porch, then your heart starts beating about 3 times as fast. And keep in mind, her father just left, so she's at home by herself. And so she just went outside, and that's you could pick that apart if you wanted to. You could say, what freaking person is not going to lock their doors and go inside the house? But she's calling him on his bluff. And again, that's another reason why Sydney's different from other final girls, because she's very brave and a little crazy in that she will literally just go right outside, face the danger. I mean, you could study Sydney for, there are papers that could be written on Sydney just because there's just little nuances about her that are different. She kind of rebranded the term final girl. Nice shot there. Really cool shot. This is another thing that's cool about Scream 2 is, they get right into the action. There's a few chase scenes. Or already we have a chase scene with the final girl of the movie. See? She's smart. She goes on her computer. She calls 911 from her computer. Most people, when they're in situations like that, they freaking lose their shit. I'm going to admit, I'm that type of person. When I don't react well under that much pressure. And then there you go. That's in the writing by Kevin Williamson. Automatically, he shows Billy, and he makes it look like, oh, could this be Billy? And then boom, goes downstairs. So now our finger is on Billy, but it's too easy. So automatically we think it's not Billy. See, that's the problem with whodunits. We're constantly like second guessing ourselves throughout the movie. So that's part of the fun, though. So we just finished the part where the killer was covering his tracks because they had Billy under custody. And then, of course, the killer calls and says, "You got the wrong guy." So that's what's going on right now. They're about to go to the school. And then we get the nice chase inside the school. The famous bathroom scene, which is a really good... It seems like there's always bathroom scenes in these slasher movies. I don't know. Which I guess that's a good question for you guys. Like, what's your favorite bathroom scene in a horror movie? I just posted on Killer Flicks, and now I'm gonna go to Instagram and see if I got any comments yet, and I'll read those. I kind of like doing it. I'm like, this is the first time I've actually sat in the Drumdums chair in the evil lair while doing a DWatch. So it's kind of cool. I kind of dig it. And Gale Weathers, I tell you, that tension between Gale Weathers and Sydney, it's almost sexual. It's almost a little bit of sexual tension. I didn't even talk about Cotton Weir yet either. That's another aspect of this movie. That's another possibility for the killer, because that's the guy who was pinned for Sydney's mother's death.
Right now for Scream. Having fun. Who wants a shout out? Let me know in the comments. Scream, baby.
Yep, there we go. That was my Instagram post.
Right now.
And let's. Oh man, already got quite a few comments. All right, cool. So Matthew Inglis, 14. I'll have a shout out, please, Lee. Love Scream. Zachy Zach Attack. Me and Zach have been good friends for, God, what is it, Zach? Like 4 years now? Long time, maybe 5 years. I don't know, but I cherish your friendship, good sir. I cherish your friendship. Andrew Starkiller, he says, hell yes. Chase Moser, 95. What's up, brother? He said, Dylan Melvin, 9. Amazing. Brettman, 865. I thought DWatch was on Saturday. It was on Saturday, but I decided, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do it tonight. I've never done a DWatch at night. I figured I'd change it up because I get bored with the way I do things, so I like to try different things. And so that's what I'm doing today. Lloyd Gaga, the best. No, you're the best, Lloyd. James Shannon Morant says, best horror movie of the 90s. I'll agree with that. Mikey Henson says, I'll be back. Vinny Lima 12 says, yes. Georgie 91 says, love watching it and pretend it's my first time watching it. That's it. I think you can apply that to just about any movie that you love. to pretend that it's like the first time watching it. So, Holly, handsome mama, she says, Randy Meeks is my spirit animal. He's everybody's spirit animal. So now, yeah, they're in school, and you said the guy was just like running down the hall. This is so true too. This is how school would react. Because there's people that are so immature in high school, and they act like idiots. So now we got some awkward, like an awkward moment between Sydney and Billy, because they're dating, and he, you know, the finger's on him now as being the killer, and she doesn't know if he's the killer. So it's got to be weird for her because she's dating a guy. So what does she break up with him? You know, it's a gamble. It's a gamble on her part. I'm actually digging the VHS, doing the VHS for Scream. It's kind of cool. I think they nailed the character of Billy. I think Skeet Ulrich nailed the character of Billy because he definitely has, you know, he's got that bad boy vibe to him, but you know, he does have that aura that you don't trust about him. You know, there's that something there that's a little off. Because he's like one step from insanity, you know, sometimes. And it really comes out in the end. So I'm going to go ahead, since I'm sitting here, and I love this scene here with the principal. And he's like, do they really think we're going to think it's the principal that's the killer? I mean, it could be, but man, how unsatisfying would that be if the killer ended up being the principal? I like how he's like always pointing the scissors at the students, though. Like he's going to cut them. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and read some of these Killer Flicks ones, too. So Destiny Faulkner says, my favorite movie, I'm excited. Zach Mull, who I just gave his fan film, He Knows Your Name. Oh, shit, son, let's go. Edgar Sims says, awesome, excited. Holly Klein again says, I'm feeling a little bit woozy here. So many freaking great lines in this movie. Jesus. Robbie Phillips says, awesome. Really excited for this. Love Scream. Luke Baxter says, Sorry, Luke. It says the first Scream film is such pure fun as a horror fan for being commentary on horror and just a fun murder mystery. Yeah, I mean, you pretty much summed up what I was trying to say at the beginning of this. Plus, first Wes Craven film I ever seen. John Urbano says, let's go, classic. Bill Casanelli says, I'd love to see who you think was in the mask for each kill. There's a guy on YouTube that actually, like, he's pretty new too, and he's actually like every video he does is pretty much of Scream, and he has a video where he decides who the killer is in each kill scene, pretty much. So pretty cool, actually. Brett Stewart says, I thought it was on Saturday. No, I changed my mind. I do that sometimes. Okay. Antoine, what's up, brother? He says, I love Scream. I always did have a thing for Billy. I'm sure you and a lot of people. Okay. Jack Woodlock says, who wants that shout? I'll take it. This movie got me into horror in the first place. Lost count of the amount of times I've watched it. Latest being last weekend. Yeah, I've seen Scream so many times. Jason Miller, what up, Lee? What's for dinner? I went to Blaze Pizza tonight with my wife. I had delicious pepperoni and sausage pizza, and it was exactly what I wanted. Roberto, what's up, brother? He says, everybody is a suspect. Anthony De Lorenzo says, we'll always remember talking about how we were going to sneak into the theater to see this movie in 7th grade, history class, iconic film that gave the slasher a rebirth for the 90s, 2000s. Ryan Tucker says, love this movie. Brett Stewart says, Scream franchise is my all-time favorite. Can't wait to add Zach Mull fan film to my Scream ranking. Cool. Ryan Harris says, oh yeah. Well, let's redirect the moment, Mr. I'm so original. Where's your motivation, huh? Why copy yourself off of 2 high school loser-ass dickheads? Stu was a pussy-ass wet rag, and Billy Loomis? What the fuck? Jesus. Talk about a rat-looking homo. Repress mama's boy. Why not set your goals higher, huh? You want to be one of those big boys, huh? Manson, Bundy, OJ? You put anything on that teleprompter, he will read it. Chris Snyder, oh hell yeah. Norman Fleming Jr., definitely one of my favorites from the 90s. Hopefully the 5th installment will be done right by the creators of Ready or Not. Yeah, I got a good feeling. I think Ready or Not directors are going to do a great job, actually. Chris Snyder, first horror film I ever saw, so I owe a lot to this movie. Jeremy Holman says, I freaking love this movie. Robbie Sobel, right here, Brotherly McCoy, hell yeah. And Robbie Sobel adds a picture. He's dressed as Billy Loomis. That looks really awesome, actually. Anthony Wood says, I want that shout, Lee. Laugh Out Loud. Just watched you and Michael Trapson. Was a great breakdown of films. And for Scream 2, too many great moments, but don't kill me, Mr. Ghostface. I want to be in the sequel. Dude, that was so fun with Michael Trapson. And you know what? Maybe me and Trap could do something with Scream and Nightmare on Elm Street. You know, because there's 4 Scream movies. So we'd have to come up with a way to do a video with Scream, though. I guess we could find another franchise that has 4 movies. I don't know. But I'd love to put Scream versus Nightmare on Elm Street. That would be freaking awesome, actually. Highly underrated movie right there. The Rage Carry 2. Yeah, there we go. I can autofocus that. The Rage Carry 2. And I love that freaking cover. 88 films, baby. 88 films. And that freaking knife is glorious. Oh, Jesus. Sometimes I come in here and I just stare at my backdrop. Because I just love all the great things that you guys have sent me. I mean, so much of that is stuff that you guys have sent me. I would probably say like 90% of it. And I just can't thank you guys enough. It's just really awesome. Kick up the lighting there a little bit. But yeah. I mean, really just freaking blessed, guys. I mean, you guys pretty much made Drumdums. So you are Drumdums. I want to play this song for you guys. This song is called Mama by Genesis, which I'm kind of obsessed with right now. I heard the song when I was really young, and I haven't heard it since, but it always stayed with me. It kind of creeped me out. And here's the scene where the principal's about to get his. But I'll go ahead and put this song on, and we'll listen to it as the principal's about to get his.
So say you'll hold me, mama, 'cause it's getting so hard. Now I can keep you, mama, but I know you're always there. You listen.
One of my favorite scenes right here. This scene is so good. And it's another one of those really great tension breakers. And it makes me miss the video stores like crazy. Matthew Lillard, I tell you, the talent on this guy. To be just completely fearless. Him and the guy that played Randy working together. Insane. Simplicity. I was talking about simplicity too. In this movie, it's not the most simple slasher. It's a lot going on. But, you know, I'm waiting for that moment where there it is.
No, I don't.
I remember when I first saw that in the theater. Oh my God, I freaking lost it.
Why can't they find it?
No. They've watched Prom Night, they'd save time.
A very simple formula. Everybody's a suspect.
Little Jamie Lee Curtis there. Oh. So I mean, right there, they're kind of, you know, if you've seen this movie before, this scene kind of takes on a whole new meaning because there's the two killers. It's like he's in a killer sandwich. It's the millennium. Big scene right here. This is probably one of the most memorable kills from Scream. Tatum's kill. And I like the way this is set up too, because like now, it's anybody at the party. It could be anybody. And of course, Ghostface is standing there at the door. Also, like right before this, they kind of alluded that maybe Dewey could be the killer when he bumps into Gail in the road. He picks her up. And I think David Arquette, he does have a face that can come across as like you can't trust him, because David Arquette has played bad guys in movies before, so he's one of those actors that's perfectly cast for this movie because he could go either way. He could be the villain or he could be a good guy, and he's one of the few actors that can play like this sweet teddy bear type of character, but he could also play like a sadistic type of character. So perfectly cast. The big thing with Tatum too is everybody talks about, how do I put this? She wasn't wearing a bra. I don't think she was wearing a bra. That's all I'm saying. So now she knows, oh shit, this is real. He just cut me. Now that music right there, that is directly from H2O. H2O copied Scream. That music is directly used in H2O. I'm looking at the mask here. I'm trying to decipher if this was the first mask that they ended up switching or not. I don't think so. But there was something about like that first, the rejected mask, I guess we could call it, that it was kind of like protruding out too far. So I don't know how she got stuck in the doggy door. And, you know, I guess I'll give her that she was panicking, but she could have just like pushed the button when she was over there and it would have came up. But, you know, when you're panicking in these situations, anything can happen. Yeah, that's a great kill, though. It's really memorable, you know? You don't see too many kills like that. If you got that, then that's a good thing. So pretty much this entire last act is the party, which is a great, you know, there's a lot, I think there's a lot of movies where the last act is a party. You know, I think it's, logistically it's easy because it's all one location. You can film a lot, you know, you can get a lot done, a lot of coverage. You got a lot of different subjects in your frame to play with. So yeah, to me it's a no-brainer. I love the 30-second delay part. Okay, why not do some shout-outs while it's awkward? We get to enjoy the nice little love scene between Sydney and Billy. And I'm going to read some nice Instagram shout-outs, okay? Smooth Yesk, that's Erica. She says, Scream! Strela's93 says, yes, Scream is my favorite horror movie, love it. Hailstorm Freak 97, oh my god, Scream is awesome. My friend Ginny, Izzy, Maria, Amy, Ash, Cobra, and I love the movie. Brandon Banales, hope I said that right. Scream is one of the best slasher movies of the 90s. Can I please get a shout out? Yes, you can. Kay, Gareth, Brandon, Micah. So you're revisiting Scream from 96. No, this is not a revisited. This is a DWatch, and there is a big difference. Thomas Baker, 97, favorite slasher opening? Yeah, we talked about. Oh, they just played the stinger. The stinger from Halloween. Awesome. This is great. Gilly rocks the metal. Highly Scream. That's three things we have in common. Vanilla Gorilla Beast is my brother. Love Vanilla Gorilla Beast. She's awesome. And Toe Cutter recently changed to Davy Dark, my husband. Nice. Please could I have a shout out for my family? Thanks, Gilly. Absolutely, Gilly. Hell yeah. Randy is so freaking important in this movie. He really is. Cineself says one of the best horror spot YouTube says love this movie, one of my top 10 all time for sure. I'm going to give all those nice people a like.
That one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror.
This scene right here.
Instance number 1. You can never have sex. Big no-no! Big no-no! Sex equals death. Okay, number 2.
We're just gonna enjoy this together.
Never drink or do drugs. No, the sin factor. It's a sin. It's an extension of number 1.
I feel like I'm at a party right now with these guys.
Ever, under any circumstances, say, I'll be right back. Because you won't be back.
I'm getting another beer. You want one?
Yeah, sure. I'll be right back.
And so now you got the 30-second delay, and so he's seeing 30 seconds in the past. So did they just add time travel to Scream? And again, here's Dewey. I kind of have the same lighting as Dewey does in this scene.
If you're sure it's all right,
Am I to be trusted?
be right back.
She just said, I'll be right back. So much fun, Screaming. So much fun. Did I just talk like Yoda? Yep, here we go. The flashlight. You're not scared, are you? So this is a scene where Sydney kind of catches him in a lie with the one phone call. And so then his reaction to that, instead of really coming up with a great reason, he sets up this big thing. So then that way, there's no way he could be the killer. And this was brilliant. Because right away when you see this, you know, for the first time, you think, oh my God, there's no way he's the killer. They got the blood on him and everything. And, you know, it's tough when you have a reveal that's that effective. And how do you top that? And I think that's one of the hurdles that Scream had to deal with the sequels. Because the first one was just so well done, you know? So it's hard to compete. And in my opinion, they still haven't been able to top the twist, the reveal in the first movie. And I think that was one of the problems with 3 is it just got way too far-fetched. But I mean, it's go time. We are definitely in the final act, pretty much final showdown. And this is one of those nice long chase scenes. It goes on for a little while. I think Scream has like the perfect length for the final chase, and then you get the scene with the big twist at the end. Now let's see where we are in the living room. So it's like we're not on a 30-second delay. We're on like a 10-second delay. And did I do that on purpose? No, I didn't. I wish I could say I did, but I didn't. But I kind of dig having the two displays going at the same time. Do you guys dig that? Or would you rather me just do it on one display? See, this is one reason why I like doing the DWatches, because it's mobile. I can move around. I can do all kinds of things on a DWatch. You know, I can point at this freaking Suspiria. You know, I can do whatever I want. It's not like a review where I'm just like sitting there in my chair. There's the chair. In a review. Reviews can be kind of boring sometimes, but DWatches, they're all. That's why Holly likes them so much, because they're all over the place. It's kind of like a found footage version of a Drumdums review. I just figured it out. That's what a DWatch is. It's a found footage version of a Drumdums review. There you go. But it's not a review, so I don't know what I'm talking about. Boom! He just got it. A lot of killing going on. A lot of killing. I mean, this is a really long chase scene, actually. I think I have a couple Scream VHSs too, because I got that one right there that we're watching right now, and I know I got a couple other ones somewhere. See, there's a Scream 3. You had to get Carpenter's music in there some way, didn't you? Okay, so Dewey just got stabbed, and yeah, it's getting pretty crazy right now. The reveal's going to be coming up. Let's see if I can squeeze out some more shout-outs before we get to the reveal. Okay, Matt Facci says, love me some Scream. They are a kick-ass franchise. 1 and 2 make for a great back-to-back. Winnie Pino says, definitely a fun franchise. I like the first and fourth installments the best. Me too. I look forward to seeing what Scream 5 has in store for us. I completely agree. Robert Schumann says, I would love a shout out. The first Scream is a classic. Love the characters, love the story. I see nothing wrong with the movie. Brian Rummel's got a cool little gift there. Griffin Burrows says, one of the best, if not best, slasher movies ever. Nice, nice. George Hernandez says, I love this film so much. Quiet on set, please, and action. Lomont says, I want to shout out, love this movie. Bryson Burrows says, great 90s slasher, one of my favorite horror movies. Where are we at? Okay, yeah, we're still doing good. Brian Rummel, great film. Jabari Hargrove says, Ghostface fan since 97. Give me my shout out. There you go. Like the tiger. What's up? Okay. Sean Lane says Scream is definitely in my top 10. I started my horror collection with the first 3 on VHS and I cherish them greatly. Kwani Finney says, I remember when we first saw the trailer for this movie, we were so hyped for this, and then we saw the movie and was not disappointed. I almost thought she was going to say we were disappointed. Like, what? And here we go. I timed it just right, didn't I? We are literally at the last scene, and what a finish we got here. You got one of them that's stabbed, and you got the ghost face, and then they're both like banging at the door. Right away, this is when I knew. When I saw Billy coming down there and he's still alive, and I'm thinking, he's got that much blood on him and he's still alive? I don't know. And it was from that moment I was like, he's going to be the killer. But I didn't know that there were going to be 2 killers. And she gave the gun away. That's pretty much like what Laurie Strode did in the first Halloween. She dropped the knife. She just dropped the knife, pretty much. She gave him the gun. There you go. We all go a little mad sometimes. Randy's lucky that he didn't shoot him right in the heart. He shot him in the shoulder. That's one thing that's so great about Scream, is it really just pays homage to like so many great horror movies. You know, all the classics. It honors the classics. That's what's great about it. And then we're like, oh no, we got 2 killers now. What is going on? And what's great about Billy and Stu is they are almost complete opposites of each other. You know, it's not 2 of the same type of character. Kevin Williamson was a genius for writing these 2 characters so different from each other. So that way you wouldn't think that they both were the killer. And if you really look at this scene, there's a lot of dialogue in this scene. There's a lot of exposition. So luckily it's very effective dialogue, because if it wasn't, then this scene would go on way too long. But you know, there's some comedy in this scene. There's some dramatic moments in this scene. There's some crazy psychotic moments in this scene. This scene is just filled with all this great stuff. And I mean, from a filmmaking standpoint, you had to have somebody as good as Wes Craven to be able to handle filming a scene like this with this much dialogue, you know, because you can compare this to, like, you know, this is what every fan film strives to do, create a scene that's like this, that's this good. Because let's face it, in fan films, a lot of times they're going for the visual, they're going for you know, the kills, all that type of stuff. But to really create great, effective dialogue, I don't care what genre you are, that's important shit. And that's what she's doing. He's telling her now the story of why he is the killer. She's no Sharon Stone. Billy's mother was sleeping with Sydney's father. Yep, there you go. He just said, your slut mother was fucking my father. That's a good motive, too. It's a little soap opera, but it's still a really good, viable motive. Because Billy, he's a really young kid, so he's still... You know, he's still highly emotional about things. He's had a kind of a... I don't know if he's really had a rough upbringing, but, you know, divorce is tough on kids. And when they're, you know, ripped apart like that, and there's, like, you know, infidelity involved in there, then it can create a killer, you know. It can cause a lot of damage. That's the worst case scenario, of course. Okay, so now here's the scene where they figure out, okay, how are we going to get away with this, right? So they have to take some kind of damage, so that way they can prove to the cops that they weren't the killers. They were stabbed by the killers. And they're going to frame Sydney's father. So then that looks like it looks painful. And so Billy gets pissed off, and then he gets a little bit overzealous with the stabbing of Stu. I mean, look at the freaking work of Matthew Lillard there. Jesus, what an actor.
Don't you blame the movies? Movies don't create psychos. Movies make psychos
More creative, that's it. I'm getting woozy here, man. So they weren't paying attention. What happens when you're not paying attention? That's why Sydney's such a great final girl. But it wasn't Sydney, it was Gail. Gail got the gun. I'm thinking on the fly, okay? I haven't seen this movie in a while. Jesus. Even though I do watch Scream a lot. But there's just so much going on in this movie that, you know, you can lose track. And I think that's another reason why it's so fun to watch. It's one of those movies, every time I watch it, I noticed something different. It reminded me of like today on Killer Flicks, somebody asked, he thought Halloween was overrated. He thought it was overhyped. And I've heard this a million times before. It's an opinion. But the reason movies like Scream, like Halloween, like The Shining, why they live on is because they offer something every time you watch it. You know, they're really just a representation of great filmmaking. You know, and to me, when I watch Halloween, I see that what John Carpenter was able to put together in that movie, and it was almost like a happy accident, kind of like Jaws. You know, like I don't know if John Carpenter could actually do that again. You know, like I said, I'm sure every director, if they directed the same movie twice, it probably wouldn't be the same movie. You know, like I said, a lot of times happy accidents work and they make for great movies. And to be able to pull off this type of comedy while still maintaining, a very dramatic and intense scene, you got to have some great writing in there, and you got to have some, more importantly, great acting. And this is how important great acting is. Like Bob Clark, who directed Black Christmas, he said, "You give me a great story with okay or bad actors, I can't give you a movie. You give me a bad story with great actors, I can give you a good movie." I truly believe that too. And this had both. It was a great story with great actors. Sydney's so badass. I mean, she's taking on two killers too, you know? Oof. God, that would hurt. I have one of those umbrellas too that's like really long like that, and I was thinking of Scream the other day when I was holding it. I was like, oh geez, this is like, that would really hurt if the tip of that like went into your chest. So now here's the scene where Stu gets the TV dropped on him. And there was some talk that what if Stu came back? And I still think that could happen. Probably won't, but it would be cool if he did. But could Stu live from a TV being dropped on his head? Probably in real life, maybe not. But in horror, and if you want the character back bad enough, yes, he could. Yeah, I think he could live from that. His face would be fucked up, for sure. But I think he could live from that.
I'm so happy to be a virgin.
I never thought I'd be so happy to be a virgin. Alright, I'm going to do the rest of the Killer Flicks shoutouts right now, okay? Because we're pretty much nearing the end of this thing, alright? Eberthon says, shout out Lee, you rock man, thanks for the DWatches. Scream. Andy Reeves says, but wait, there's more. Andrew Burton says, Lee, McCoy, me, please. It's one of my favorite horror movies ever. Andrew Burton says, cannot wait, Lee. Jonathan Nichols, nice little gift there of Stu. Alex R. Longoria says, my boy Lee McCoy playing Scream. Nick Cooling says, my second favorite horror movie ever. Very excited, Lee McCoy. Zach Lamont says, Ghostface fan here. Love the movies. I would love a shout out. There you go. And I'll go over to Instagram and real quick see if there's any more. One last scare. I didn't think this was needed, if I'm being honest. And she said, not in my movie, but he came back anyway. Okay, so I got Colin Borges 161. It's Scream time. Dave Vanderhoff, what's up, man? You just made it in time. It's a Scream, baby. And then Justin Paul Goodrich says, I'm seeing Scream for my first ever drive-in movie next week. Very excited. Love the channel. Enjoy the movie. How's that for a last comment? That's pretty badass, man. To be able to see Scream at a drive-in would be awesome. And that's it. We ended it. There's the end of the movie. Gail Weathers giving her exclusive. How awesome is that? Anyway, guys, that's it. That's the end of the Scream DWatch. It's good to be back. Haven't had a DWatch in freaking months and months and months. But, hey, thank you guys for watching along. I'm sure this was pretty long. But be sure to come over to Killer Flicks where we talk horror all day and every day. And on Fridays, we do Free for Fridays. Follow me at Drumdums on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and Drumdum out.